and we are under Alfa Romeo pressure. Alfa Romeo Sauber, yes. But oh no, we lose the back end to the 30k. Joe hits us from behind. Gasly is there. Oh my word! What just happened? Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Racers on our Road to Glory on F1 22 driver career mode, driving for Williams Racing alongside Alexander Albon. Now guys, heading in towards this episode, you guys know the previous episode where we went to my favorite track on the current calendar, the Baku City Street Circuit in Azerbaijan. We managed once again to get rid of Spain without the S, and we got some fairly decent points around the streets of Baku. Now heading in towards this episode, we might have another painful episode because we're heading towards a track where the AI are extremely strong, and it's going to be very, 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 very hard to get some points in this next race. I'm of course talking of the Canadian Grand Prix around Montreal. Now you guys know the previous episode we did some chassis department. There was an event where we could have helped out for a charity or stuck with the team building for the chassis department, and obviously I stuck with the chassis department because that is the area of the car that lacks the most. So we need all the top morale for the chassis because, yeah, it's just we need to get stuff done for the chassis department. We also got a durability upgrade last episode from Mercedes for the power unit. But furthermore than that, there's not much going on at this stage. So heading in towards this episode, obviously we're going to have another Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge, the ones that I do indeed enjoy. But yeah, heading in towards this episode, we have an ERS cooling upgrade that has come towards the car. And today, we are doing another autocross challenge around the Montreal circuit. I think we're driving the Mercedes AMG GTR, if I'm not mistaken. But still very much looking forward to this one. It's going to be a good one. And yes, it is the AMG GTR. And you guys can see I've only put in my, I think I've only put in my best run, with the one where I did the best possible time. But this was actually a pretty fun one. I have to say, these autocross challenges so far are my favorite. They really, it's not just, you know, put your foot down and drive as fast as you can. You need to drive technical as well, because if you go too fast, you're going to miss some of the gates or hit some of the bollards, and then that'll just add time to your total time. So through this one, it was just a lot of fun, and I have to say, of the supercars, the Ferrari F8 Tributo is my favorite of the current ones on the game. But then I have to say, the Mercedes AMG GTR and the AMG GT Black Series is probably my favorite cars to drive. I'm not a big fan of the Aston Martins and the Ferrari Roma, but even the McLarens feel good as well. But I actually enjoy driving the McLaren Artura more than the 720S. But you know what? It's every person to themselves. You know, it's your own personal opinion. That's just my little personal opinion about these cars. Now, I'm sure you guys saw that I didn't yet purchase an upgrade for this video. Reason for that being is we do not really have enough resource points to buy anything for this episode. But as soon as practice is done, we'll see if there is something that we can get on the car for future Grand Prix. And as you guys can see, those gates around the hairpin are so tight. You really need to focus on getting through those. These ones as well. And from here on only, you can put your foot to the floor. But very, very fun gate challenge there. We did, I think, a low 132 or a high 131. And that is us with a 1,000 acclaim on the beautiful Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge in the Mercedes AMG GTR. So Obviously very fun. Yeah, we did a high 131, a 131.75. That's all nice and dandy. And now we head towards the performance chart. As Ferrari have plateaued a bit for this episode, but they are still in the lead with Red Bull in P2, Mercedes P3, who have brought a tiny upgrade, I think, a very minor upgrade. Alfa Romeo, McLaren, Haas, and Alpine are fighting over P4. Now, guys, you guys saw the previous episode, Lando Norris got P4 in his McLaren. So I think it's only a matter of time before McLaren are going to overtake us in the Constructors' Championship because they are upgrading that car like crazy. So we need to keep an eye on McLaren. But then in P8, it's still Aston Martin, just ahead of AlphaTauri. But with our upgrades coming in, we are a bit closer to Aston Martin and AlphaTauri. But we'll have to see what happens this episode because there's a lot of water that needs to run into the sea for this episode. But yeah, the midfield is very close. I mean, from Alfa Romeo to Alpine, it's a very close battle for those final points. And then it's basically between ourselves, Aston, and AlphaTauri for the back markers, but we need to try and get in the mix with the midfield, but that is easier said than done. You guys can see after practice we're sitting on 2,151 resource points. We purchased a major front downforce upgrade that I would have liked to purchase the previous episode but couldn't, and I think we also go for the energy store. Yeah. It's a good upgrade. We need to keep the engine strong because that is the only thing at this stage going for our little Williams Tic Tac car. But yeah, guys, time for quali. Jumping straight in towards the end of our first lap in Q1. And guys, so far this car is not a Q2 or Q3 car. I'm just going to mention that. So the chances of us getting out of Q1 are very slim. We come across the line, we go P4, but we are already basically 1.3 seconds off the pace at that stage. And come towards the end of our second run, we are dead last in P20. So Tsunoda, Albon, Vettel, Stroll, and I think Gasly is in P15 are the only other cars that we really can try and mount an attack on. But like I spoke the previous episode, this car is very bad on a Saturday. I do know that I am not the best qualifier in the world, but this car has got very minimal qualifying pace. You guys saw that through the final chicane that I had a bit of floor damage. And but we are still in P20. We improved, but we didn't even go up one position. I'm feeling like Nicholas Latifi at this stage, and it is actually quite ironic because I am in Latifi's car. But we head here around the Montreal circuit for our final lap in qualifying. We are still in P20, but the two Astons seem to be bettered by my teammate and the two AlphaTauris. So if Albon can beat them, I need to try and do the exact same. But, oh, guys, this car just felt so bad. And setup-wise, I really set the car up for, for having good one-lap pace. I set up the car more towards qualifying than the race, which probably wasn't the best idea. But I was getting a bit desperate to, maybe try and be at the top level of the Q1 knockouts, or maybe even have a lucky break with some people having terrible Q1s and maybe sneaking into Q2. But that just isn't the case. The car is just too slow. The car is just unfortunately too slow. Albon goes P16 just ahead of Tsunoda. So can we at least beat one of the Assassins? We have a big twitch of oversteer through the final chicane across the line, and we are in P. Oh boy, it's another Q1 knockout. I am almost certain about it. Gasly gets into Q2 in P14. Albon so nearly got into Q2. He just missed out by a few 100s of Esteban Ocon. But it's Albon, Tsunoda, Stroll, Vettel, and myself out. Guys, I'm two tenths down on Vettel alone. So we've got a lot of work to do in this race, but we can do it. But since we're sitting at the back of the grid, let's take some engine penalties because that's going to help us out maybe later on in the season. You never know. But guys, it's time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's head to the grid.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at this fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than a tenth of a second. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris, and Hamilton, Russell, Ricciardo, Bottas, and Kevin Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, and Joe, Gasly, Albon, Yuki Tsunoda, and Lance Stroll, Vettel, and O'Connor. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Alongside me to discuss all the... Tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little some teams' difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them.
Guys, it is time for the Canadian Grand Prix. And guys, for this one, considering our pace, I think I'm going to start on the mediums. Because that's the only way we can, you know, if something happens within the race, that we maybe have a sniff of points. But honestly, throughout this whole race, I'm going to have to be driving the wheels off of the car. Otherwise, it's not going to go well. And as you guys can see, I'm already second-guessing myself and maybe thinking about the hards or even a two-stop strategy. But at this stage, the mediums would have been the best possible idea. So that is what we are going for. And I think we're underfueling the car maybe a little bit, to maybe be a little bit more aggressive at the start. But that is basically all there is to it. I need to get my head down and do the best I possibly can for this race. But points are going to be a long shot. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, obviously, you guys know 22 place grid penalty with all the new parts of the car. We're running a brand new engine. Hopefully that gives us that few tenths of a second a lap that we need. Even if it's just 1/10 of a second a lap, that's something more. But the formation lap is underway. And
not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want you to bog down.
Thank you very much, Mark. And guys, unlike the previous episode, I didn't spin the car coming off the line, like, you know, not just burning out, like doing a burnout with the tires, but like completely going around like I did at Baku. But here we go. Everybody's lining up on the grid. The two Ferraris are on the front row from the two Red Bulls. And then we've got Norris ahead of both the Mercedes, then his teammate Ricciardo. So you guys can see McLaren have officially turned up and they are here to play and here to stay. So let's head towards our grid slot right behind Lance Stroll and alongside Sebastian Vettel. I think this is going to be a very interesting race. But we almost park up perfectly, just 0.2 meters. But now we head to 5 red lights. And it's go, go, go for the Canadian Grand Prix. As Carlos Sainz gets a beautiful jump over the line. Or was that Leclerc? I didn't actually completely watch there. The Mercedes are going 3 wide with Lando Norris. Hamilton gets the squeeze through. Will Russell be able to go around the outside of his fellow Brit? There's literally 3 Brits in one camera shot there. Hamilton, Russell, Norris into the first chicane. Russell and Norris have a little bit of tyre banging there, but they are still side by side through the section. Norris gets the best of Russell, but I'm sure that Mercedes is not going to stay behind Norris as long. But Norris has a little bit of a lock up into the middle sector chicane, and he even lets his teammate Ricciardo go through. So it's literally Noah's Ark. 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Mercedes, and 2 McLarens from P1 all the way down to P8. But it is Carlos Sainz leading the way from Leclerc. Then it's Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, Ricciardo, Norris, and then I'm not sure who's in P9 and P10, but we'll check that now. We'll check it out now. Jumping back to our POV for our start. And you guys can see we do have a few split strategies here with drivers who started on the soft compounder tires, like Vettel. But it's not just Vettel, there's a few other cars. I know Carlos Sainz is going for the same strat, which I don't think is going to be the best one. But we'll see what we can do. 3 wide through the hairpin with myself, Vettel, and a Lance Stroll. I think it is the two Aston Martins. There we go. We squeeze out the second Aston as we are now right behind our teammate going side by side with Yuki Tsunoda. He leaves the door open for us as he passes Tsunoda, and we have to take to the grass there because Tsunoda has a little bit of a jolt to the right, and that makes our tires dirty. We don't have the grip on corner exit, but we are still sitting pretty right behind Yuki in that AlphaTauri. I think Yuki and Gasly are not very impressed with AlphaTauri's development this season because they've been overtaken by McLaren and now they are even being caught by Aston Martin. But Gasly has also not had the best start. My teammate goes for a sensational dive from up the inside of Guan Yu Zhou and Esteban Ocon, and nearly he gets Fernando Alonso. My teammate is on a charge on this first lap, but that has been a beautiful first lap here. But Carlos Sainz leads the way for Ferrari as they drift through the final chicane from his teammate Leclerc, Verstappen, and Perez. It's been a beautiful first lap from the Scarlet Ferrari team. Let's hope they don't have a strategy blunder. And in P9 and 10, it is the Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas and the Haas of Mick Schumacher, followed closely by his teammate Kevin Magnussen in P11 and Alonso in P12 in the second Alpine. Then it's my teammate. Then Zhou, Ocon, myself, Vettel, Gasly, Tsunoda, and Stroll. But we've got an AlphaTauri and Aston Martin war for the wooden spoon here at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's two wide between Gasly and Vettel, and then Stroll and Tsunoda. Stroll gets Tsunoda, but will Vettel get the upper hand on the Frenchman? Here we go through the middle sector chicane. Vettel goes around the outside on those soft compound of tires, but I think the AlphaTauri is better in a straight line than the Aston Martin due to less drag and better weight reduction on the AlphaTauri car, the baby Red Bull. Through this next part, it's very close between Vettel and Gasly, but I think Vettel has got the grip and the overhand on the Frenchman. And then it is Vettel, Gasly, but Stroll and Tsunoda are going side by side once again. And Stroll even goes up the inside of Gasly. Will we have both Astons ahead of both AlphaTauris? I think that might be a bit of a rage quit moment for the AlphaTauri crew. But here we go. Lance Stroll side by side with Pierre Gasly, and he slots in between Gasly and his teammate Vettel. So it's Aston Martin 17 and 18, AlphaTauri wooden spoon 19th and 20th. We now jump to lap 16. And guys, surprisingly, even though my quali pace was bad and I had more of a qualifying setup on the car, I managed to stay with Ocon, Zhou and my teammates. But they are losing heaps of ground to the group ahead. So I think the best we can hope for is P13 today. But nevertheless, the battling will be fun as we go for a monumental dive up the inside of the Frenchman Esteban Ocon. And that is what happened to P15 as we now try and chase after Guan Yu Zhou and my teammate Alex Albon. I mean, honestly, guys, Albon is just the cork in the bottle. As soon as Zhou gets past him, Zhou will be gone and he will chase down Alonso, Magnussen and Schumacher because the Alfa Romeo is a pretty quick boy McGee. But here you guys can see we jump onto lap 7, and those softs on Carlos Sainz's Ferrari are worthless at this stage. Look how easily Leclerc just gets up right behind his teammate and goes up the inside in to the third chicane. There's nothing that Sainz can do. He tries to defend, but the more the Ferraris fight, the more the two Red Bulls are coming in on the scrap, and even the two Mercedes are lurking in the background. But Leclerc is on the inside for the hairpin, as Sainz, he's going to squeeze Sainz to the wall, but there's a little bit of a jump on the replay there, guys. I do apologize for that. Sainz has got DRS on his teammate Leclerc, but will he get ahead of his teammate? They are very, very similarly matched, but Sainz dives it into the pit lane, and he lets his teammate go. Considering that, if I was Sainz, I would have just let Leclerc go and held up the Red Bulls for half a lap, because that was just a little bit silly. But Sainz is onto the mediums, and he is now going for his second stint. But guys, he's going to fall so far back, and he's going to be in so much traffic. I think Ferrari might have just cost themselves a 1-2. Honestly, because the Ferrari is definitely quicker than the Red Bulls at this weekend around Montreal. So there's still a lot that can happen in this race, but I will have to see what happens. Sainz comes out just behind me and ahead of Ocon. And you guys can see I take a wide line through the hairpin on lap 8 to try and let Sainz go, but he just doesn't go past me. And at this stage, I was like, okay, I'm close to Zhou. I'm going to try and go for a move here. But Sainz just sweeps past me as if I'm standing still, and he doesn't go for the move on Zhou. So at this stage, Sainz is going to cost me time, not just himself. So he needs to get past Zhou, and the quicker, the better. He pulls to the outside, but Zhou just cuts off Sainz's front nose. That was very aggressive from the rookie Chinese driver. But we are right behind Carlos, heading into this next section. And the thing is, the more these guys battle, the more I'm under pressure from Esteban Ocon behind me as well. And once again, that Alpine is miles faster than this Williams. So I broke away from Ocon, but as soon as Sainz entered the fray here, we were under pressure once again. So Sainz has made me a little bit mad, but luckily we still have DRS on the group ahead. So that makes my defending from Ocon a little bit easier. As finally Sainz goes up the outside of Zhou, but they are slow through the third chicane. And now we need to take avoiding action to not run into the back of them. We get Sainz, and even Ocon gets Sainz. And I'm just going to say, you know what, Zhou? I think it's time, brother. I think it's time to go for a move. As a Sainz defends successfully from Ocon and is now right behind me. But this time I was just like, no, you can get past Zhou first, and then you can get past me. So I basically drained my battery, and now we are going for the move on Zhou. We dummy to the inside, go to the outside, around the outside of Zhou on the entry to the chicane, inside for the exit, and that is us now up into P13, trying to chase down our teammate Alexander Albon, who's already got a 2.3 second gap thanks to Sainz just forcing us all to battle. But Sainz is even now under pressure from Lance Stroll, who got past Ocon, but I mean, what am I supposed to do? And now that that Albon is in clean air, he is just running away. I can't match him, and now we are under pressure from Zhou and Sainz. So at this stage I was like, okay, Sainz gets Zhou, just go past me, please. Just go past me and break away, because you are costing me so much time. We are now heading towards the end of lap 12 and the start of lap 13. And there we go, Sainz is passed, all willy-nilly. But here comes Zhou, and I defend from him to the inside. I pinch him to the inside so that I can keep in Sainz's DRS, even though I don't have DRS at this stage. But I'm going to try and stick with Sainz as much as possible. But that Ferrari on those fresh mediums is going to be a quick boy McGee. And as you guys can see, lap 13, he's already broken a 2.3 second gap. He's chasing down my teammate Albon, and now we are under pressure from the Alfa Romeo of Zhou. I let him go, and I'm just going to try and stick with him in the DRS, because there's no point in fighting him too much. We're just going to be put under more pressure from Stroll, Ocon, Tsunoda, Gasly, and his teammate Vettel when he eventually catches up, because Vettel also pitted off of his softs onto a set of mediums, fresh mediums. So, you guys can see there, Sainz made an easy move on my teammate, and here come the leaders at the end of lap 15. So Leclerc and Verstappen is in, Perez and Hamilton stay out for another lap. Or no, that's Russell, sorry. Russell stays out for another lap. Leclerc is in. Oh, but Red Bull have got a quicker pit stop. They jumped the Ferrari in the pit lane, and I'm almost sure that Charles is going to be screaming in the cockpit a bit there, because he's just lost the lead of the net P1 of the Grand Prix. Ricardo is in, Bottas is in. Here goes Sainz. Now let's see how much time Sainz lost battling us backmarkers. Because Hamilton is already out, so is Leclerc and Verstappen. Sainz, who went from the lead of the Grand Prix, is now basically a net P4 with a pit stop still to make. Will he be able to come out ahead of Perez and Russell though? Because that would make his race a little bit easier, even though I highly doubt it. But Perez is in, off of his mediums, onto the hards, and the same for Russell, yes. Here comes Verstappen and Leclerc. But guys, like I said, the Ferrari was clearly quicker this weekend, and I think it was just a matter of time before Leclerc would get Verstappen. But you never know. You never know. But they've broken away from Hamilton a bit. Here comes Perez, and he slots in between Hamilton and Leclerc. So he's still in P3, so Sainz will not get him. And Sainz has even been jumped by George Russell. I'm not even kidding. That is how much time Sainz has lost by battling us backmarkers. We are also in at the end of lap, the end of lap 16, start of lap 17, if I'm not mistaken. I think that is the case. Yes, the end of lap 16, the start of lap 17. And we are going to come out. There is Lance Stroll. No. We are out just ahead of him. But Willie slots in between myself and Zhou. Stroll is actually driving a pretty good race today. Obviously, you guys know Vettel is ahead of us, but he basically went for the undercut, but he's still got a pit stop to go because he pitted so early. So we will definitely jump Vettel again. But we are now 5.6 seconds behind our teammate Albon. And we've got an Aston Martin on warmed up tyres right behind us, and we are still on cold tyres. Joe is there, Gasly is there, Ocon is there, Tsunoda is there. But we just give, Stroll the squeeze, and he has a little bit of a lock-up into that third chicane. But I am not complaining. That makes my life a bit easier. Joe is back ahead of the Aston Martin. As Ocon is battling the two Alpha Tauri, Tsunoda goes for a massive dive, even on his teammate as well. It's there, guys. It might be for the wooden spoon, but the battling here at the back, it still makes the racing so much fun. But here we go, Tsunoda behind Gasly. There's DRS trains. Freaking, this is one massive DRS train. It is Joe v Stroll. Who's going to get the better of them? As long as they battle, I can break away. Joe he's still there. He is still there. Tsunoda gets ahead of Gasly, it seems, and Ocon is just like, what am I supposed to do? You guys, what am I supposed to do as Gasly goes for a monumental dive up the inside of Lance Stroll? Oh my word, the AlphaTauris clearly are driving with a bit of, the red mist has descended, because they do not want to be fighting at the back, they want to be fighting for points. But Stroll stays ahead of Gasly, and now it is, oh no, he does not. Here goes Gasly, here goes Gasly, here goes the Frenchman, and he's around the outside of the Canadian at his home Grand Prix. I think Stroll is just driving for pride, guys. But guys, what did I say? We have a quick replay back to the end of the previous lap, and there goes Leclerc up the inside of the defending champion, Max Verstappen, and he's back into the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix, but they are followed closely behind by Perez and Hamilton. And guys, here comes Sainz for his second pit stop. Guys, he's not even going to get points today. Ferrari have really screwed over Carlos Sainz in this Grand Prix, and he's now going on to a fresh set of odds. What's the point? I would have taken the mediums to lap 25, strap on a set of softs, and hope for the best. Because the Ferrari does have good pace, even on worn tyres. But Vettel is in the end of the very next lap. Sainz is down in P12, so he might be able to get points, but the best he can hope for is P9. And that he's not going to, maybe P8, but he's not catching the McLarens, that is for certain. But I think he can get all the way up to Bottas's position. So Sainz is looking at a P8. We've got a yellow flag as Yuki Tsunoda's car spits out his engine spits out its final gasp, and Yuki Tsunoda is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. You guys can see Vettel is coming from behind. He's back in P19. So Ocon is in his Aston Martin sandwich, and we are under Alfa Romeo pressure. Alfa Romeo Sauber, yes. But oh no, we lose the back end through the 30k. Joe hits us from behind. Gasly is there. Oh my word! What just happened? Guys, I said at the beginning of the race I was going to be pushing like a madman, and that is me overdriving the car. I literally have Spain without the S again. I spun at Spain like this, took out my teammate, and now I've taken out two other drivers. Stroll just runs past us. But, I mean, even Ocon got caught up in this. This was just, oh, man. Joe is out, Gasly is out, Ocon needs a new front wing. And, I mean, there's somebody hit us from behind. Somebody hit Ocon from behind. Not us, but Ocon. Please don't tell me that's one of the race leaders. If that is Leclerc, I am going to be fuming.
Or we're going to get penalised. There's no overtaking during the safety car period.
So guys, with my spin around, I overtook Ocon, which was under safety car conditions, so I had to give the position back. Hopefully we don't have the safety car bug. But it is Leclerc! No, it is Leclerc! Verstappen, Hamilton, oh no! Guys, I just caused Leclerc to DNF out of this race. And by some other miracle, I don't have floor damage or side pod damage. So I'm just going to go into the softs, but I'm going to be lapped. I didn't think about this in the moment. I didn't realize how close the leaders were to overlapping us, and I should have just stayed out, then I wouldn't have been lapped. But I'm officially a lapped car, so this race is honestly one I want to forget. Albon is in P12. By some miracle, can Albon please jump Alonso and maybe trip up over Sainz, overtaking Magnussen or Schumacher and get into the points? Albon has really been driving so well this season. I really honestly need him. Well, I not just need him, I want him to get points. I want him to get points. But myself and Ocon are lapped now, so there's no way we are getting points. So we need to wave all the blue flag runners by. Sorry, I am a blue flag runner. We need to wave all the leaders by. because I think I'm sitting just ahead of Carlos. I think I'm behind the two Haas cars. Let's quickly see. Ocon he's ahead of me. He's right behind Bottas. And I think I am right behind Sainz, maybe. I'm not sure. But Ocon is going to get out of the way with 4 laps to go. So I'm just going to follow the rest and just get a little bit of pride. Go around the outside of Ocon. Because, we are fighting now for the wooden spoon because it's P14 and P13. I'm sorry, P14 and 15. So we're ahead of Ocon, but that's about it. And even though I was on the soft tires, I couldn't even stay with the leaders because they were just too quick. So we start the final lap of a Canadian Grand Prix for ourselves to forget. But look at Mercedes. With the whole ghosting with Leclerc's crash, they ghosted through the 2 Red Bulls, and George Russell is on his way to win his first Grand Prix. What is happening? Verstappen and Perez could do nothing about the Mercs. They are clearly very strong in clean air. But I mean, Red Bull, thanks to the game itself, the game has cost Red Bull a 1-2, and to make massive strides into Ferrari's Constructors' Championship margin. But McLaren are going to be singing all the way to the bag because they're getting a P5 and a P6. Sainz is going to be in P10 because he can't seem to get past Magnussen and Schumacher, so he's going to get 1 measly point. But I mean, Russell, you little sly boogie, that's my name, and I came to run the game. Oh my word, George, I'm trying to do an Albon. George, how did you do this? How do you do this? Why are you running? Why are you running? You are not running anymore. You have just achieved greatness, and George Russell wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Hamilton P2, Verstappen P3. But for ourselves, it's a sad lapped P14.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
They take the checkered flag then here in Canada in what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In a race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to O'Connor. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Yes, you will see us for the next one, but this is just sadness. So guys, Russell and Hamilton are now on equal points. They've jumped me, so obviously that is nothing that we didn't expect because they are in a front-running car, clearly. But Carlos Sainz only leads the championship now by 2 points from Verstappen. Leclerc is third with 13 points behind Sainz, and Perez is fourth, 19 points behind. And guys, look at the two Mercs. They are only 27 points away from the lead. Can we honestly have a late dash from Mercedes to get into the points? To maybe fight for a championship? only 41 points behind Ferrari in the constructors, Red Bull 8 behind. There's a lot that can happen, and McLaren have officially jumped us in the constructors. It's expected. 1 point ahead of us, but we are still ahead of Haas, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, and Aston Martin. Guys, this honestly, unlike Spain, where in the final lap I had the chance of points, but the car was, I just didn't have the machinery underneath. This was just sadness. I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of fun battling with the two AlphaTauris, the two Astons, and Guan Yu Zhou the whole race through. But as soon as that spin happened, because I overdrove the car, it was just like, my bra, me bra, what is going on, my bro? And it's honestly a day to forget. P14, but still, if you think I'm in a Williams, I'm supposed to be P20 or P19. I'll take it. I'll take it. We've still had a very good season so far. Even if we don't get points for the rest of the season, we've still had a phenomenal first season so far. And next round, we're heading towards the home of British motorsport. We're heading towards Silverstone. And at the end of that race, the season will officially be halfway. But guys, there's a lot of water that needs to run into the sea, and there's a lot that needs to happen. But the battle for the championship, Mercedes are in it now. So if they can upgrade that car, we've got a 6-driver battle for the championship and a 3-team battle for the constructors. So honestly, thanks to myself and to Ferrari just strategizing like their booties, it's been a day to forget for Ferrari and for Williams. But we'll see what happens at Silverstone, at the home of British motorsport, at the pinnacle of British motorsport. But in any case, guys, it was still a fun race. I'm not complaining because of my stupid mistake. We just really need to keep working on this car, because around this tracks like this and Spain and these heavy, like proper tracks, the car has got decent pace around street circuits. But actual tracks, and yes, I know this is a street circuit, but I see this more as an actual circuit because it has more real circuit vibes to me. We lack pace. We lack a lot of pace, but we'll see what we can do. But guys, that has been this video. Don't click off. I see your finger. Don't do it. Before you go, make sure to drop a like down below on the video if you did indeed enjoy yourselves. If you guys want to see more of this very passionate, cringy guy, check out the links in the description down below. Follow me on social media, and if you think this video was a banger, share it with your friends, tag me in the post or the story, and I will give you a shout out in a future video as well as on my social medias. Guys, 1 subscriber away from 250. Just one, please. If this is your first time viewing Turbo Fox Races and you enjoyed yourself and you are not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below, and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future awesome episode here on Turbo Fox Races or a live stream. You guys are absolutely amazing. Guys, the channel has really been snowballing recently, and I want to keep the snowball going, because as soon as you keep the snowball on a roll for a certain amount of time, the channel just, it gets bigger and better. And I want to thank you guys for all the support. You guys have really knocked it out of the park recently, especially with my live streams, my league racing, my commentating, and even the vlogs, guys. The vlogs, you guys are absolute animals, and I love every single one of you guys for supporting me so much, for me pursuing this very hard but very achievable dream. You guys are amazing, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think I'll be doing a 250 subscriber special as soon as the subscribers are in, but I'll see what we can do. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. You guys are amazing. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next video. Cheers!